To all the non-believers, 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 non-believers. I'm making out.
What's good, y'all? This is Jay Varsity, and welcome back to NBA Talk. This is episode 99, playoff edition. Oh man, what a day! What a day one of the NBA playoffs that we got. So, by the way, I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys are taking care of yourselves and all that. And we had some very exciting basketball. So let's get started with with what was the first game. Let's start with the Denver Nuggets and the Utah Jazz. It was it was a very interesting game of runs. The both both teams at one point were very hot from the perimeter. Whether it was the Denver Nuggets with their streaky 3-point shooting, same thing with the Utah Jazz. You would have similar runs, but it was a close game all the way to the end. We had two incredible performances from Donovan Mitchell and Jamal Murray. Donovan Mitchell dropping 57. Like, what can I say? God damn. He dropped 57. Like, talk about putting the team on your back. Like, I really didn't think that the Utah Jazz were going to be able to stay with Denver. I thought Mike Conley's absence would somewhat play a factor, but Donovan Mitchell is guaranteed to put the team on his back until Mike Conley gets back, because a performance like that, it doesn't go unnoticed. That does not go unnoticed whatsoever. I saw a very much warrior-like spirit when it comes to Donovan Mitchell. And Jamal Murray, he was another one. He basically said, "Oh, if Donovan Mitchell is gonna battle it out, I gotta try to go blow for blow with him too. Jokic can't be the only one." And since Michael Porter Jr. had a good first half, very sluggish second half, but he wasn't much involved with the offense in the second half. If you notice that, it was more starting to become that two-man game with Jamal Murray and Jokic again. So Jamal Murray had to step up, which is what I like that the Nuggets do. They leave the ball in his hands. I'm not very much a big fan when they try to put the ball in Jokic's hands, especially in the closing minutes of games, because I feel like Jamal Murray is that killer and he could be the one taking those shots. So I like when they create the offense for him. So when the game went to overtime, I wasn't shocked, because all of Denver and Utah's games have been that close the majority of the year. They always went to OT. I mean, they just had a double OT matchup. They just went to double overtime the other day before the regular season ended. So I wasn't surprised the game went to overtime, but Jamal Murray took over in overtime, hitting step back threes, mid range jumpers. He just had it going. He just took over. And that's what I like to see from the Denver Nuggets. Even though Michael Porter Jr., I still like to see when they give him opportunities, but he didn't have it going as much in the second half. So that's why I'm glad Jamal Murray picked it up. And again, if Jamal Murray just keeps up being the aggressor in the second half, because Jokic, I like Jokic. He's an amazing big man. He has great passing vision. He can shoot the three, but I just don't like it when the ball is in his hands towards the end of games, especially in close contested games like that. I like the ball in Jamal Murray's hands. Just like how Utah trusts Donovan Mitchell, they trust to have the ball in his hands, because he's not a bad passer as is. He's not a bad passer. Jordan Clarkson, he was a very streaky shooter. Royce O'Neal, Rudy Gobert had some big buckets, but Donovan Mitchell was leading the way. He was hitting mid-range jumpers. He was hitting threes. He just looked like a man possessed, and that's why when you saw in that post-game interview, Jamal Murray's what he had 57. God damn, D. Like, I would say the same exact thing. It's like, God damn, the dude had 57, and it took a whole team effort just to slow down Donovan Mitchell. So, very great performances in the first game. Denver won 135 to 125. But don't let the score fool you. It felt a lot closer than it shows in the score. because these two teams are gonna battle it out. This is gonna be one hell of a first round matchup. I was really glad that got matched up, and you can see why. Donovan Mitchell is just gonna be balling, and his future is just looking very, very bright. He just looks like a young D Wade to me. He looks like a young D Wade to me, bro. The way I see him going at it from mid range, the way I just see him keep fighting, he just looks like a young D Wade, bro. Now the athleticism is not as like D Wade's, but his his never say die attitude is just like it, because he just put the team on his back, and I just love what I saw. The second game, I was actually a little shocked about this when it comes to the Nets and the Raptors. At first, I'm watching this game, and I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't really paying attention as much to this game as other people would have. Especially if you're a Raptors fan, you probably watch this game from all the way to the end. But kind of knew that the Raptors were going to win. But at one point, the Raptors were up 33, and I was actually surprised that the Nets even cut it down to single digits. Caris LeVert had himself a great night, getting what, 13, 14 assists. I can't, if I'm correct. Like I said, I wasn't paying attention to that game as much as anybody else was, but I kind of assumed that the Raptors were going to win already, so there wasn't really much debate about it. The Raptors, great defensive team, great perimeter shooting team. They're a very tough collective unit. They're very well coached. They're the defending champs, for God's sake. It's like you can't disrespect the champs by saying that they're going to lose to a 7th seed Nets when they don't have the majority of their team. So I'm not gonna say much there. It's just like it is what it is. If the Nets are able to even get within single digits in this series, that's a lot for me, because that tells me that Caris LeVert is really stepping up when it comes to being that guy on the Brooklyn Nets. Because then it just shows that when KD and Kyrie come back next year, that they're gonna be a very dangerous team. Like they really are, because they have great perimeter shooters and great playmakers, which makes me scratch my head when I hear what Kyrie said earlier this year about trying to trade pieces. It's like, this is a great collective team. Imagine if this whole team was healthy. This team would probably be one of the most dangerous teams in the playoffs right now. Imagine a 7th seed, and you had Kyrie, KD, Spencer Dinwiddie, DeAndre Jordan, and the rest of them 100% healthy. That would be probably one of the most dangerous 7 seeds in the playoffs. And anyway, the Nets won 134 to 111, I believe. So that's game 1 for the Raptors. Next game was the Boston Celtics against the Philadelphia 76ers. And this just goes to show why the absence of Ben Simmons is going to absolutely destroy the Sixers, because it's just that defense was just not there. The Boston Celtics, the fact that the Boston Celtics were they even won by single digits, it just shows me that the Boston Celtics, how you are struggling against a 60 that doesn't have their best perimeter defender is just beyond me. It should have been a field day. It should have been a field day. And Jaylen Brown is always going to have those performances where I'm just like, wow, why can't he perform like this every other day? And Jason Tatum, he had a great performance. The Celtics in general, they had a great offensive performance. The Philadelphia 76ers offense looked very, very confusing. Like they didn't know what the hell they were gonna do. And Joel Embiid, he was doing what he was doing, but then I just feel like he wasn't as assertive. But then at the same time, it's like, what else do you want him to do? It's like, what other weapons do you think he has? It's like, this Sixers team is not that good offensively. And I'll say this to the end of time. They should have kept Jimmy Butler and not Tobias Harris, because Tobias Harris to me is not that guy for the 76ers. He's not that guy that you could give the ball to and expect him to give you 30 along with Joel Embiid on any given night. He has been inconsistent all year. So that's why I've always been somewhat disappointed with the Philadelphia 76ers. So so at the same time, I'm not surprised that the score is what it is, but because the Sixers in general, they're a great defensive team led by Al Horford and Joel Embiid, and you got other great defenders like Matisse Thybulle. You have great rim protection. You have great rim protection, but the Boston Celtics collectively, they have too many wing scorers that are just going to be a problem for the Sixers. Now, if the Sixers make adjustments and they actually try to get some open perimeter shots and they start nailing them, that's a different story. But anybody who thinks that they're concerned that the Philadelphia 76ers are going to beat the Boston Celtics, I don't know. I'm just not seeing it. I'm just not seeing it whatsoever. It's the Philadelphia 76ers, they just look like a whole different team when Ben Simmons is not there. Ben Simmons to me is that perfect playmaker. You could have put a power forward because he would have been a complete mismatch for this Boston Celtics team. The Boston Celtics to me would not know what to do about Ben Simmons. I think Ben Simmons would have picked apart this Celtics team. Like I just don't know. I really just don't know. It's just unfortunate that he just had to get injured because he was just thriving as a defensive player this year. So you just hate to see that. Boston Celtics won 109 to 101, I believe. Either way, Celtics win game 1. And the final game of the night. Final game of the night. Oh man. Oh man. First of all, I gotta shout out to this man, Luka Doncic, bro. Luka Doncic played like a freaking warrior last night, bro. This dude played like a warrior last night. We had Clippers Mavericks last night. And I've got to tell you, I'm going to be completely honest. My emotions were completely mixed throughout this game. At first, the first 3 minutes, I was just like, this is a whole complete mismatch for the Mavericks because the Clippers were just firing. They were just making shot after shot, getting steal after steal. And I'm just like, wow, they just got no chance against this team. I'm like, are they about to get blown out in the first quarter? And then the crazy part is, the Mavericks, by the end of the first, have 38 points when the score started 18-2. Porzingis and Luka Doncic were just destroying the Clippers. They were destroying the Clippers. The Clippers, I will always say it, the Clippers are not consistent. If I'm saying it right now, I don't care how anybody feels. If you're a Clippers fan, you better be concerned about this team because how on earth do you start a game when you're up 18-2, you have a 16-point lead, and you let Dallas end up scoring 38 points in the first quarter? You basically got ambushed with three-pointers, and I just don't understand how you could be confident in this Clippers team. Anybody that tells you that this is the best defensive team in the NBA, it is all cap. All cap. You saw how Patrick Beverley was trying to bother Luka Doncic, and Luka Doncic on the other end just said, get the hell out of my way, and he dropped 42. Yes, did he have 11 turnovers? Yes, he did. But I still appreciate the fact that he just kept fighting, and he kept Dallas in the game. If Porzingis didn't get those two bogus technical fouls, I'm telling you right now, I would be sitting here telling you how the Mavericks beat the Clippers. Because that was just beyond unbelievable. Those are the two most bogus technical fouls I had ever seen. Porzingis, Like anybody else, who has not been pissed about or gotten frustrated and, just swung their fist in the air out of frustration? Not trying to punch anybody, but who has ever just trying to just swung their fist in the air out of frustration? Who hasn't done that? I've seen plenty of basketball players that have swung their fist out of frustration, and they gave that weak technical foul to Porzingis because of that. And that was a clean block. He blocked Paul George. That was a clean block. I don't know where they saw a foul there. That was a bad call. And then that second technical foul. Are you kidding me? I think I've seen little kids push harder than Porzingis, and it looked more egregious than what they saw last night. Like, come on, bro. Like, come on. First of all, Luka Doncic, Marcus Morris is trying to get the ball out of Luka Doncic's hands, and he straight pulls his arm, and Porzingis is trying to separate them, and you basically came out of nowhere and just said, we got to throw out Porzingis. It looked like as if you wanted the Clippers to win. It just looked like as if you wanted the Clippers to win because you knew damn well that the Clippers were getting their absolute asses kicked because it went from 18-2 to 52-36. The Dallas Mavericks were just killing them on everything. Offensive boards, three-point shots, they were just killing them. They were killing them. I don't care what anybody tells me. You tell me that the Clippers did a good job against the Mavericks, I'm calling cap on you. I'm calling cap on you. You're letting a 7th seed Mavericks team, which I believe shouldn't be a 7th seed, they bombarded you with three-pointers, and you are going to tell me that you still think the Clippers are going to win the title? You still think the Clippers are going to win the title? This is the most overhyped team in basketball. Overhyped. You saw how quickly their offense went from explosive to brick city. They couldn't make a basket the moment the Mavericks went on that run. They couldn't make a basket. That was just absolute. They couldn't make an absolute basket. Kawhi Leonard obviously was doing his thing, killing it from the mid-range, hitting his floaters. He obviously hitting a couple threes. Paul George, I can't say nothing. I can't say much about Paul George, to tell you the truth. Because what I saw from Paul George, he was just trying to dance like a damn ballerina last night. He was just trying to dance like a damn ballerina, and he was getting fouls. Like, it was like, it's like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? What are you doing? And at the same time, it's like, bro, can you just let these guys play basketball? If the Clippers are such a tough defensive team, then let these guys play basketball. Why are you bailing them out with such weak calls? Anyway, Clippers won 118-110. That game just really frustrated me because them throwing out Porzingis really just killed the momentum of the game because you were really seeing the dynamic duos go at it with each other. And you took out Porzingis after playing 19. You ejected Porzingis after playing 19 minutes. That really pissed me off, and it really gives me a lot. It gives me a sign that the Dallas Mavericks can give the Clippers a very good run for their money because the Clippers looked absolutely confused on how to stop their three-point shooting. Like, I don't understand how you got faith in this Clippers team. I really don't. Like, I seriously don't understand how you got faith in this Clippers team. I don't see it. I really don't see it. But anyway, I gave my first round matchups yesterday, and nah, I'm still not gonna do it today. I'm just really hesitating on trying to give my second round predictions, but I don't want to try to predict too much into the future because then I don't want people to tell me that I got this completely wrong and all this other stuff. Man, I could really care less, but I'm not gonna do it. Anyway, that's gonna be the end of this video. I'm gonna give you my takes on the rest of the game. The rest of the game once today. We got the Bucks and the Magic today. We got the Heat and the Pacers, Rockets, Thunder, and then to finish off the night, we got Lakers, Blazers. I'll give you my takes on those games tomorrow morning. This is your boy Jay Varsity. Like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell if you like basketball content. And I'm out. Peace.
We got some non-believers out there.